All right. Hello everyone. It's been a bit. Um so as you can see from the title of this video, I'm going to be doing a review of The Bad Batch. And if you haven't seen it, I'm going to be doing like a spoiler-free review until a certain point in this video. And then at that point I will say like I'm going to spoil from now on. So if you haven't seen it, you can stop watching after that, of course, or continue watching, whatever you want. I'm also recovering from the flu, so I'm going to cough quite a bit, but it'll be fine. Um, I also reviewed this on my new radio show I got, which I'm going to link in the description. But it's the same thing that I was doing before. I just have a new title for my show. Anyway, okay, so Bad Batch. Bad Batch could really be called the Clone Wars sequel. Um, I'm actually watching the Clone Wars again now. I'm on like season. I think I'm on season 3, episode 2. Yeah, I'm right here. And this show really could be just described as a Clone Wars sequel show. And because it's described as a Clone Wars sequel show, it really has to be compared to the Clone Wars, in my opinion. Um, and let me first say that this is a very good show. I do have criticisms of it, but it is a very good show that generally is like quality Star Wars storytelling. Um, But in terms of comparing it to the Clone Wars, I would say there's only one area where it actually goes beyond the Clone Wars. I think that there are certain episodes that we'll get into later that match the quality of like the peaks of Clone Wars. But other than that, there's only one area where like I would say it goes beyond the Clone Wars, and that's very obvious when you watch the show. It's the animation. The animation of this show is really far greater than the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars was like passable. It got better as time went on, but certainly when like you were first starting the show, like first couple episodes, like you notice that it's pretty not so good, but it does get way better as time goes on. But in this show, it really is animated very well, and there's some parts that are genuinely beautifully done. They have a lot to do with like weather and nature and like clouds and rain and lightning and stuff like that. Like looks really cool, but also just generally cleaner and better looking animation all around. So yeah, really good on that front. Much better than the Clone Wars. Um, but the areas where it does fall short would be in the first 2 seasons. There is a lot of filler episodes that are not very entertaining in any way or really have uh no no sort of value to be seen whatsoever. Being a bit harsh here, but like they're just like kind of pointless episodes. And I would say in the Clone Wars, even the episodes that aren't really like important and that could be classified as filler are still like, in my opinion, significant. For instance, here's one episode I like that could be classified as filler, but is one of my favorite episodes actually. I'll show it to you right now. This one, Lightsaber Lost. It's a completely, non important episode. It's just about Ahsoka losing her lightsaber, but I love it so much because it actually develops the character and like shows you a new Jedi and like shows you a bunch of new stuff about Coruscant and all that. So, but on the other hand, Filler in this episode, or in this show. I'm sorry I'm making a lot of mistakes, but as you can see, I'm a little bit distressed with the cough. I'm gonna get water. Give me like 5 seconds. Okay, I'm back. Um, where were we? So yeah, they're like the fillers in the Bad Batch, on the other hand, really have no point whatsoever, and they're like boring and don't develop the characters in any meaningful way. What else does the Bad Batch do good? I like that it like brings back a lot of old characters from the Clone Wars. You get to see like what happened to a lot of people. Um, and you know what? You have to acknowledge that despite the fact this is like a good Disney content show, Disney does rear its ugly head in a few ways. So so the main people in the show are these clones that are like they're they're like defective clones or something, so they don't all look the same. But it's Hunter, Crosshair, Echo, Tech, and Wrecker. What this show does well is like a few of these characters are genuinely great, either from development or like how their characters end up pay off. I would say Crosshair and Tech were my favorite. Echo was pretty good too. Wrecker's kind of like comic relief. Hunter's a good leader character. But the one character that really especially starts out pretty bad is the female character. No surprise with Disney. Um, Omega. I'm trying to find, yeah, this girl right here. She's just like a really, she's not like the overpowered Mary Sue, but she's like the Mary Sue that's like morally better than everybody else and is like constantly lecturing people on morality. And it's kind of just annoying at many points. Frankly, her character gets a lot better, and by the end of the show, she's actually like, somewhat likable. But this is like where you see it is a Disney show. And also, literally all the new characters they introduce into the show that actually are recurring are almost all female characters. And some of them are like, one of them is like a sassy black lady. So it's like it's clear they're pushing the representation envelope a little hard. And like I said, like these characters just like aren't very good, and it's just a little annoying when like all the characters being introduced are almost all women, especially the recurring ones. Like they do introduce a few men, but they're almost all like one-off characters. So it's clear this show like definitely has the like forces female sort of whole thing, and like the female characters are always sort of like, leader characters and like always take charge and all that, which is not bad per se, but I just feel like it's not balanced out in, when like I said, like they almost bring in no male characters that are recurring. Certainly there were loads of female characters like that in the Clone Wars that were much better. For instance, Ahsoka, Asajj Ventress, Duchess Satine. Like these were really good female characters that were recurring, but they were also balanced out with plenty of male characters. um, and also I just feel like they were just more like significant characters. Like even the female characters introduced were kind of like just hollow. Like one character named Fennec Shand, which was like one of the better female characters they made. I just felt like a stereotype, like a stereotypical bounty hunter character. And then there was Sid, which was kind of a good character, but kind of annoying. Another problem with this show is like a lot of the voice actors I felt were kind of out of place and just too goofy compared to the Clone Wars. um, okay, but I think we're gonna get into the actual spoiler review here. So, yeah, you can get off if you want. So, season one was quite good. Um, it started out really good with this episode, which is like right after Order 66. And I'll be honest, a lot of these episodes aren't super memorable, but like I do know the general gist of what happens. And yeah, you meet like this new character Sid who gives like quests for the team. And it's very like space westerny, kind of like Mandalorian. And then like you see you see Cad Bane again, who is a great character from the Clone Wars. I liked like this episode on Raxus, which is one of my favorite planets from the Clone Wars. It's the capital of the Confederacy. This was good, even though it was like pretty fillery. This was terrible. This episode, complete filler. And then you go back to Camino, and like the whole premise of the show comes clear. It's sort of about like the Empire taking control of the cloning technology and destroying their enemies in Camino, who might sell that technology to the rebellion or something, or a future rebellion, of course. And then you have this amazing episode, which is really just fantastic. It's the destruction of Camino, which was a fantastic end and a really, really good sort of bow they wrapped the whole season in. And I loved it, and this episode after it was also really good. It's just an amazing emotional episode. And in my opinion, none of the other finales top that, although this one is really good too. Season 2 has another like great sort of build up of the Crosshair character who's like stays loyal to the Empire, unlike the rest of the batch. Yeah, you see more Clone Wars characters like this cute Wookiee from the episode where they go get their lightsabers. I really like that arc. I can't remember his name though, but he was really good. And then you have these two great episodes which are more political. It's about the clones ratting on Admiral Rampart for the bombardment of Camino. And then the Emperor sort of makes his appearance in the Senate and shanks Admiral Rampart and says, no, it wasn't like a storm that destroyed Camino, it was a rogue admiral. So he basically lies and sells him out. And it is a great, great episode. Yeah, you have some more fillers like this one, but this Outpost episode is a fantastic episode. Really good writing, and this is when the character of Crosshair, who's the rogue Bad Batch member, well, not rogue, he's technically loyal to the Empire, but he spent this whole time like doing unsavory things for the Empire, killing people. And then there's this great episode here where his whole arc sort of comes to a head here on this planet where I think he's sent out to deal with rebels. They could be beasts, something like that, and he's sent with a clone. And you know, they get to talking while they're out alone in the cold, and basically like they talk about sort of the worth of a soldier. And I think the clone's like, if you were hit, I would like do everything to make sure you're brought back. And Crosshair is kind of like more about the mission But then, lo and behold, this other clone does get hit. And because they like spent the episode building up their camaraderie, he brings him back to the base. In the cold, he's struggling. The guy is about to die. And then, like, the commanding officer on this base is like, completely nonchalant about it and doesn't care that the guy's dying because, like, clones are expendable. And, like, Crosshair is, like, completely in disbelief because he is not shown any worth for his sacrifices, and neither is the soldier who's dying. And yeah, it's just an amazing scene where he's out there with a dying clone, and the guy is like treating him like garbage, and then he just breaks and he shoots the guy, and yeah, that's the end of the episode. But it's fantastic, and it's why Crosshair is like it's probably the best character. Really good, and yeah, we get to see what happens to him there. And in this episode, you do find out he's sent to the base on Tantus, where clones are being experimented on for a purpose you don't really know yet. As you can see by the rating, this is filler. This is the sassy black woman they added in, because this is a Disney show. There was a black character in the Clone Wars that was like actually good and not like sassy. Which season was it? It was... Yeah, it was this one. Mina Bonter. Not Mina Bont, sorry. It's, what was her name? Stila Guerrera. The sister of Saw Gerrera. Yeah, anyway, then we get to like this final arc on the planet of Iriadu, which is Tarkin's home planet, and there's like a military summit at his compound up in the mountains, which is very cool, very well done every way in terms of the design and the animation and everything. And yeah, it's a mission that goes wrong, and then big spoiler ahead, like it all culminates in like them in an impossible situation, but Tech, who is actually like one of my least favorite characters. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, I just bit my nail. I'm such a retard. Okay, anyway. So Tech was one of my least favorite characters, but he had such a great death scene. He sacrifices himself for the team, and it is actually like an emotional scene. I was surprised. It's pretty perfect, and it is a great finale, but I like the Kamina one better. So yeah, the team escapes with their lives on the backs of Tech's sacrifice. Okay, now we're in season 3, which has like basically no filler. However, I do feel that season 3 has a lot more, or a lot less interesting story, like a less interesting overall story. And the main thing I hate about this is they try to like retcon episode 9 into being canon, which it never will be. And basically the Emperor is trying to like, they barely even say it outright, but it's called Operation Necromancer, and he's basically trying to like revive or create a clone of himself. But it doesn't even directly say it, but it's clear what they're implying. And yeah, it's a good season. It's about cloning and how Omega is really important because she's slightly force sensitive, and her blood can be used to clone the Emperor. This is very like it's very implied though. They don't outright say it. And then there's like the kidnapping of these four sensitive children to use as test subjects and all this stuff. Um, Also, we see Asajj Ventress again, which was really cool, but I just felt that one episode for Asajj was pretty insane. Meanwhile, we got like 5 episodes of this lady, Fennec Shand, when I thought, like, how much better would it have been if they had just, like, made Asajj Ventress that character? Fennec. Get rid of her, make Asajj the female bounty hunter. We get to see what happened to Asajj, build up her character more. But instead, we just got this sort of, like, generic, angry woman bounty hunter. And yeah, it was just not that good. But then another very good finale. I do say this is definitely overrated. It's not a 9. It's like a 8.5, I would say. At least by IMDb rating standards. And yeah, it was a very good finale, but it just wasn't as good as the two that came before. Oh, I know this guy. This guy was in House of Cards, wasn't he? I swear he is in House of Cards. He's like the hacker guy, isn't he? Yeah. Oh yeah. He has that dog. Or whatever that thing is. But anyway, yeah, that's my review of Bad Batch while sick. It's a little... I know it's not the best review, but... I just want to say, it is a very good show. It's just, like, not as good as the Clone Wars, and it's definitely got some problems, and it's got some Disneyfication that needs to be, taken into account when talking about it. But yeah, it's got some really standout episodes, like the Camino one, the Outpost, the one on Iriadu were really, really amazing episodes, and yeah, it's worth watching for sure. Uh, yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. Saucy Boy out.